Introduction: The hidden architecture of wealth. Most people were never taught the truth about wealth. From childhood, they were handed a blueprint for survival, not success. They were told to work hard, follow the rules, avoid risks, and settle for stability. They were told that money is scarce, that wanting more is greedy, and that financial freedom is a fantasy reserved for the lucky few. Over time, these beliefs hardened into unconscious rules that governed every financial decision, every career move, and every moment of self-worth tied to money. But these rules were never true. They were myths passed down like folklore, well-intentioned, but dangerously misleading. Wealth is not reserved for the gifted or the chosen. It is not a jackpot, a miracle, or a mystery. Wealth is built deliberately, intentionally, and lawfully. It is the result of thinking differently, acting decisively, and aligning one's life with time-tested principles that the truly wealthy have known and applied for generations. While the masses search for secrets, shortcuts, and secrets, the wealthy quietly follow laws. Not legal laws written on paper, but unspoken principles written into the very structure of how money works in the real world. These are the laws this book will uncover. The gap between those who stay stuck and those who build wealth is not about intelligence, background, or even opportunity. It is about alignment. People who become wealthy live by a different internal code. They make decisions from a different framework. They interpret setbacks differently. They view money not as a destination, but as a tool, a servant, not a master. They do not chase money for its own sake. They study how money flows, where it hides, and what multiplies it. And more importantly, they respect the laws that govern it. Look around and you will see the effects of ignoring those laws. Millions work hard every day, yet remain financially frustrated. They earn more, but they feel poorer. They save, only to watch inflation erode their efforts. They invest, only to panic at the first downturn. They dream, but they cannot escape the invisible ceilings that were never broken in their homes, their communities, or their own self-image. It is not laziness. It is not lack of desire. It is misalignment. Until the inner framework changes, the outer result remains the same. This book is not about becoming rich overnight. It is not about hype, hustle, or high-risk speculation. It is about building wealth that lasts, wealth with integrity, wisdom, and strategy. Each of the 30 laws presented in this book is rooted in real-world observation, behavioral science, and financial patterns that have stood the test of time. These laws are not dependent on what country you live in, how much you earn today, or what mistakes you have made. They are universal. They are timeless. They work because they align with how money actually behaves. There is a reason the same families tend to dominate industries for generations. There is a reason some individuals rise from poverty and never look back, while others repeat the same cycles for decades. It is not magic. It is mastery. And mastery comes from principles, not personality. If you were never taught these principles, you are not alone. Most people were not. Financial education is not something the traditional system prioritizes. That is not an accident. When people are financially free, they are harder to manipulate. They are not driven by fear. They do not sell their time cheaply. They ask better questions. They make better decisions. They become leaders, not laborers. The beauty of principles is that they are accessible. You do not need permission to apply them. You do not need to be born into wealth to use them. You do not need to wait until you are perfect. You simply need to begin. And that is where transformation starts. Not in perfection, but in pivoting. The moment you choose to think differently about money, you begin to unlock a door that leads to freedom. Not just financial freedom, but freedom of time, freedom of location, freedom of choices, and freedom of impact. Many people talk about financial freedom, but few define it clearly. It is not the absence of work. It is the presence of options. It is the ability to say no without fear, to say yes without debt, and to live life on your own terms. It is about having the resources to support what matters most to you, whether that is taking care of your family, building a business, giving generously, or simply having peace of mind. Financial freedom does not begin with spreadsheets. It begins with standards. It begins when you decide to stop living at the mercy of chance and start living by choice. Each law in this book represents one of those choices. They are not steps to be followed in rigid order, but lenses through which to evaluate your entire financial life. Some laws will challenge your current mindset, others will confirm what you have always suspected. All of them are designed to shift you from passive participation in the economy to active ownership of your financial destiny. You will not find fluff in these pages. You will not find recycled advice or vague platitudes. What you will find is clarity, conviction, and a call to rise. For example, you will learn that the law of ownership is not just about assets, it is about identity. People who feel powerless with money often do not feel like they truly own their lives. You will discover how the law of leverage separates those who trade time for money from those who multiply money while they sleep. You will see why the law of stealth accumulation protects your wealth from unnecessary exposure. And you will understand why the law of financial literacy is not optional, it is survival. These laws are not theories, they are observable. You can see them at work in the lives of people who have built wealth ethically and sustainably. You can trace them through the decisions that moved people from minimum wage to millionaire. They appear in studies of long-term investors, real estate moguls, technology innovators, and everyday individuals who quietly built empires. The names change, the timelines vary, but the principles remain. As you read, you may feel regret over past mistakes. That is natural, but do not let regret become resistance. Use it as fuel. Every wealthy person has a turning point, a moment when they stopped blaming, stopped waiting, and started learning. That moment could be now. What matters most is not how much money you have in your account today. What matters is how deeply you are willing to unlearn the myths that have kept you stuck and replace them with truth. This book is not about predicting the market or endorsing specific financial products. It is about equipping you to think for yourself, to recognize patterns, and to build with patience. The wealthiest individuals in the world are not necessarily the most talented. They are the most consistent. They did not chase every opportunity. They mastered a few laws and followed them relentlessly. That is what separates those who succeed once from those who succeed sustainably. Some of the laws you will read may seem simple at first glance. That is because truth often is, but simplicity does not mean ease. Applying these laws requires intention, discipline, and sometimes the courage to make unpopular choices. You may have to say no to things others celebrate. You may have to redefine what success looks like for you. You may have to walk away from quick money in order to build quiet wealth, but every sacrifice will be worth it. The decision to build wealth is not just a financial decision. It is a personal revolution. It is a declaration that you are no longer willing to live beneath your potential. It is a commitment to rewrite the script you were handed and craft a new legacy, one not built on scarcity, survival, or shame, but on strategy, strength, and stewardship. That legacy is not just for you. It is for those who come after you. It is for the people you will inspire, the impact you will make, and the peace you will carry. If you have ever felt like wealth is out of reach, this book is your bridge. If you have been building but want to go further, this book is your accelerator. If you have made mistakes and want to begin again, this book is your reset. It does not matter where you begin. What matters is that you begin with the right understanding. The 30 laws that follow are not just concepts, they are keys. Use them, live by them, and watch the structure of your financial life transform from fragile to fortified. Welcome to the 30 Laws of Wealth. The game is not rigged, it is just ruled, and now you hold the rule book. Chapter 1. The Law of Wealth Mindset. Wealth does not begin in a bank account. It begins in the mind. Before a single dollar is saved or invested, the soil of belief must be prepared. Without the right mindset, even large amounts of money can disappear. That is why lottery winners often go broke, and why immigrants with nothing sometimes build empires. The common denominator is not the amount of money, it is the mental framework behind it. This is the law of wealth mindset. Your financial reality can only rise as high as your beliefs about what is possible, what is deserved, and what is within reach. Many people have unknowingly been programmed with scarcity thinking. They were raised in homes where money was a constant source of stress, secrecy, or shame. They heard phrases like, "money does not grow on trees," or "we cannot afford that," not as occasional observations, but as defining truths. Over time, These words became internalized. A person might earn a six-figure salary and still feel like it is never enough. They might reject opportunities subconsciously, sabotage their own progress, or feel guilt over financial success. These are not financial problems. These are mindset problems. The wealthy think differently. They do not believe in limits the same way others do. That is not arrogance, it is alignment. They believe that value attracts compensation. They believe that problems are opportunities. They believe that learning leads to leverage. These beliefs are not slogans. They are systems of thought that shape every decision, every risk, and every response to setbacks. The law of wealth mindset demands that you examine the story you have been telling yourself about money. Is it a story of fear or of possibility? Is it one of survival or of stewardship? In a groundbreaking study published in Psychological Science, researchers found that a person's beliefs about intelligence directly impacted their academic performance, even more than raw IQ. The same is true with financial beliefs. If someone believes they are not good with money, they will subconsciously prove themselves right. They will avoid financial literacy. They will defer responsibility. They will settle for less. But if they believe they can grow, learn, and adapt, they begin to unlock behaviors that compound over time. Mindset is not fluff. It is the foundation. Consider the example of Damon John, founder of Fubu and investor on Shark Tank. He began with nothing, sewing clothes in his mother's house and working at Red Lobster to fund his dream. What separated him from others in his neighborhood was not a loan or a lucky break. It was belief. He believed he could create something of value. He believed people would buy what he built. That belief became a mindset, and that mindset attracted the discipline, creativity, and partnerships that eventually scaled into a global brand. His bank account followed his mindset, not the other way around. The law of wealth mindset also challenges your view of self-worth. Many people do not feel they deserve wealth. They associate money with greed, corruption, or moral compromise. This subconscious guilt keeps them financially stuck. They might earn money, but they find ways to lose it through poor investments, unnecessary giving, or impulsive purchases. The wealthy understand that money is neither good nor evil. It is a tool, and like any tool, it reflects the heart and hands that hold it. Money simply amplifies who you are. If you are generous without money, you will be even more generous with it. Another dangerous mindset is the employee-only mindset. This is the belief that security lies in a paycheck, that someone else must validate your value by hiring you. While employment can be part of the journey, it is not the destination for most wealthy individuals. They think like owners. They ask questions like, how can I multiply this? Or how can I create something that lasts? Instead of depending solely on earned income, they build systems that produce passive income. The shift is not just about action. It is about thinking. Carol Dweck, in her book Mindset, outlines the difference between fixed and growth mindsets. A fixed mindset sees limitations as permanent. A growth mindset sees them as temporary and solvable. Wealth builders live in the latter. They do not assume their current reality is their permanent condition. They believe in the power of learning, adaptation, and elevation. This belief does not eliminate hardship, but it equips them to outlast it. A wealth mindset is like a compass. It does not remove the storm, but it ensures you do not get lost in it. There is also a scarcity versus abundance paradigm that the law of wealth mindset addresses. In scarcity thinking, people see money as finite. If someone else succeeds, they feel it threatens their own potential. In abundance thinking, there is room at the table for everyone who prepares. Wealthy individuals often celebrate others' success because they do not see it as a loss. They see it as proof. When one person breaks through, it shows what is possible. This mindset fosters collaboration, not competition. It opens doors that fear would have kept closed. Mindset also influences your financial thermostat. Psychologists have shown that people have a subconscious set point for what they believe is normal in their bank account. If their money rises above it, they feel pressure to spend. If it drops below, they feel urgency to correct. This set point is not set in stone. It can be raised through education, exposure, and action. But the first step is awareness. Ask yourself, what level of wealth feels normal to me? What level feels uncomfortable, excessive, or impossible? Your answers reveal the ceiling that must be lifted. The environment you grow up in plays a massive role in shaping this mindset. If you were surrounded by financial struggle, you may have inherited beliefs that no longer serve you. But inheritance is not destiny. You can be the one who rewrites the script for your family. You can be the one who normalizes abundance, strategy, and financial wisdom. This is not about arrogance, it is about responsibility. Once you become aware, you become accountable. You cannot change the past, but you can change the pattern. Shifting your wealth mindset also requires vigilance against societal noise. Culture often glorifies consumption and mocks discipline. It rewards instant gratification and shames delayed pleasure. It confuses appearance with achievement. The wealthy tune out this noise. They do not measure success by likes, labels, or luxury. They measure it by freedom, options, and peace of mind. Adopting a wealth mindset means you may look different from the crowd. That is not a weakness. That is a signal that you are building something real. Exposure is another key to upgrading mindset. What you see, you begin to believe. That is why many people have their first major mindset shift after attending a seminar, reading a powerful book, or spending time around financially free individuals. The experience creates cognitive dissonance. It shows that what once seemed impossible is actually common in another circle. Suddenly, the dream feels closer. The goal feels doable. This is why proximity to people with wealth-building mindsets is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Lastly, the law of wealth mindset must translate into identity. You must see yourself as someone who builds, earns, manages, and multiplies money wisely. Not someone who is lucky, not someone who hopes, someone who is strategic, responsible, and growing. Identity shapes behavior. If you see yourself as a struggler, you will struggle. If you see yourself as a builder, you will build. This is not self-deception, it is self-direction. Your brain follows the picture you give it. The shift does not happen overnight, but it begins with awareness and repetition. Speak differently, read differently. Surround yourself with people who think at a higher level. Replace your old money story with one that serves your future. Do not just memorize these laws, meditate on them. Let them shape how you think, how you choose, and how you lead. Wealth begins in the mind. Until that shifts, nothing else will hold. The law of wealth mindset is not the most technical law in this book, but it is the most essential. Because if you do not believe it is possible, you will never pursue it fully. And if you do not pursue it, you will remain a spectator in a game you were born to play. You were not made to survive financially, you were made to thrive. But that requires a new lens, a new level, and a new language. The wealth you desire does not begin with money. It begins with mindset. Align that, and everything else follows. If what you just heard sparked something in you, do not stop here. Take the next step toward financial transformation. Click the link in the description below to get your copy of the 30 Laws of Wealth on Amazon right now. Do not just watch others build wealth. Join them. Your future is waiting.